welcome to my channel. If you are new, my name is Rachel Amma, and for this week's video, I really wanted to do some very simple, hearty, delicious, one-pot vegan recipes. Now we're using really simple, minimal ingredients, but bold flavors. So the first one we're gonna do is like a Mexican one-pot rice. Really simple and hearty. And the second one I wanna share with you is inspired by a shakshuka. So shakshuka is a Middle Eastern, North African kind of meal where they use poached eggs in a tomato sauce that they've really seasoned and flavored well. So we're gonna make that, but without the egg, because I'm vegan. Still gonna be really delicious and tasty using vegetables. So I really hope you guys enjoy the recipes this week. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you're excited for the one-pot recipes, and subscribe because I am here every week with new videos to share with you guys. So let's get into these really simple, delicious one-pot vegan recipes. So this is the harissa paste that I'm using. I really like this one. I actually got it from Sainsbury's, and I've got some paprika with it. Then we've got peppers, garlic, red onions, chickpeas, aubergines, some cashews that are soaking, some tomato passata, and some bread. So I'm gonna start off by finely slicing up my red peppers and my yellow peppers. Then once I've done that, I am going to finely dice some red onion. Well, one red onion. Once I've done that, to a pan, I'm just gonna heat up some olive oil. If you don't cook with oil, just avoid the oil, saute in water. So we're gonna get the onions nice and brown and starting to loosen up. And then once we've done that, we are gonna add in the peppers. Then season with a bit of salt and black pepper, mix it together and let them soften up. Now, while those are kind of breaking down, we're gonna start chopping up our aubergines. So I just want them into small chunks. Now that the onions are soft and the peppers are really starting to soften up, we are going to saute in our aubergines. So we're just going to pour them straight into the pot and get mixing. Clearly, once again, Rachel needs a bigger pot. Then we're going to add in our harissa paste and my 1 teaspoon of sweet paprika and mix that all together. I love the colors that are coming out. Almost forgot the garlic, You guys already know that I love garlic, so we're gonna saute that in, and it's so rich in color. The kitchen is smelling amazing. The seasoning is just so delicious. I really love harissa, and if you make it yourself, even better. This is a one-pot recipe, but given the fact that I started off with a pot that wasn't big enough, typical Rach, I'm just gonna add it to a bigger pot. Then I'm gonna put in some chickpeas. These are already cooked. And then chopped tomatoes, and we're gonna mix that in. If you want a looser texture, you could add about 200 milliliters of vegetable stock, but I prefer it like this personally. And then I'm just gonna add in 1 teaspoon of maple syrup. This is completely optional, you don't have to. Then season with a bit of salt and black pepper, mix it all together, and then we're gonna put this in the oven to cook for about 20 minutes. And really let those flavors sync with each other and get the aubergines roasting as well. While that's cooking, we're gonna make a cashew dip. So we just got some cashew nuts, some water, 1 teaspoon of garlic granules, as well as some black pepper and some salt, and then the squeeze of half a fresh lemon. Really simple. Blitz it up in a food processor. And then you get this kind of consistency. I actually wanted it a bit thicker, but I didn't actually have any more cashews, but I will put the right measurements down below in the description box. So this is how it's looking. It's still really delicious, simple, creamy sauce. If you have nutritional yeast, you could add that as well. And then here's what we've got straight out of the oven. So I'm just gonna add in some of the cashews, as well as a bunch of fresh parsley and some extra virgin olive oil just to finish it off, and some black pepper. And then you have this amazing, massive dish, and I'm serving it with some bread, and you just dip it in, and it is amazing. You can also have this with some vegetables or some brown rice, whatever takes your fancy. So I've been dipping it into the bread, and it's honestly so delicious, but I still have a bowl. Wow, that is really delicious. You don't have to add the cashew cream thing on top. I was being experimental with it. It goes really nice if you put it on some bread and then you add the shakshuka on top. So how do I even describe everything that's going on in my mouth? It's so delicious. You can taste the paprika, the chilies, the garlic. It's really simple but yet bold in flavor, really nice flavor. And because we've roasted it, the tomatoes and the peppers have had time to kind of bring out a little bit of a sweetness, and it's just much more tastier and richer in flavor. And the chili is just right, so delicious. And especially roasting aubergines, I love the texture of roasted aubergines. If you just boiled it on top of the stove, they would get a bit watery and runny, but if you put them in the oven, it's so much more tastier, and they're slightly a little bit more chewy. Just really love that recipe. If you make it, please let me know on Instagram, shout me out. But let's get into the next one, the really hearty one pot Mexican rice. So for seasonings, we've got paprika, cumin, chili, some cooked black beans, some rice, kidney beans, tomato passata, onions, red peppers, green peppers, fresh lime, garlic, vegetable stock, paprika, coriander. And we're gonna start off by dicing up some red onions into small little pieces, and then we're gonna dice up the red peppers and the green peppers. I used half of each pepper for this recipe. Then to a big pot, we're gonna saute our onions and really start to loosen them up, get them nice and brown and sweated out. Once we've done that, we're just gonna add in our peppers and garlic. Add a pinch of salt and mix it all together and let these start cooking and infusing together. Once you've done that, we're just gonna put in our seasoning, our paprika, cumin, and chili, mix it all together to combine. If it starts to stick, you can add some water or extra oil to make sure it doesn't stick to the pan. Major key for this is to use a really good non-stick pan. Then we're gonna add in our rice, which has been washed 3 times. You really wanna make sure you're giving it a good wash before you cook something like this, or rice in general. Then we're just gonna mix that all together. Then we're gonna add in our tomato passata so it's nice and smooth. Mix that together, and then we're gonna add in our vegetable stock, hot vegetable stock. Mix it together, and then we're gonna add in our kidney beans as well as our black beans. Then we're gonna mix this together. Make sure you season with a good amount of salt. It's essential for a recipe like this, especially when you're cooking rice, to help bring out the flavors. And we're gonna bring it to a boil, and once it started to boil, we're gonna put the lid on the lowest heat possible. Let that simmer and cook for 10 minutes. Do not remove the lid. After 10 minutes, take the lid off, mix it all together to make sure that the bottom comes to the top to get an even cooking. Then you're gonna put the lid on top again and cook for another 10 minutes. Don't remove the lid, lowest heat possible. Then remove the lid, mix it one more time, put the lid back on top, and just leave it to simmer to cook for 15 minutes. And it should all be infused together and delicious. Then I paired it with some coriander, some fresh lime, and some avocado. Oh, that one is so hearty. Really simple, all in one pot. Be mindful of the steps that I've given, because I know cooking rice can sometimes be really messy, especially when you start adding in spices, tomatoes, peppers. It's like when you're making like a jollof or when you're making rice and peas. The techniques that I've suggested, definitely take them on board unless you have a rice cooker. I don't actually have a rice cooker, so I presume cooking it with a rice cooker would be a lot easier, simple, and you would definitely get it right. But just follow my steps and it should work out perfectly. It's really delicious. If you are gonna make this recipe, I highly recommend adding something like vegan creme fraiche or maybe guacamole. They're really light and delicious, so it will just really complement the heavier, hearty rice. I really hope you guys enjoyed these recipes. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy them, and subscribe to my channel because I am here every week with new videos to share with you guys. Also, my cookbook is available for pre-order, so I will leave all the details down below. If you are interested in over 100 more recipes from me, definitely check it out. And I will see you all here next week. Bye.